It's good to see you this morning. No, it's not the simple people again. Did you like that story? You're new and you don't have a name tag. What's your... Sierra. I'm so glad you're here, Sierra. And you will get a name tag, because that's what we do here. That's great. It's nice to have you. So, this story is so new that there's still a little bit of smoke coming out of the box from writing it, because I just wrote it yesterday. It's really new. Do you see the smoke? Maybe it's the Spirit. You smell smoke? Well, I'm not going to imagine where that's coming from. But
I think it's coming from that camera.
do you think so? It could be. This is a little different though, isn't it?
It's dirt.
It's dirt. Yeah. Well, what I wanted was a cloth that wasn't the desert we usually see, because this story didn't happen in there really, but it's a story that could happen in a lot of places. In fact, this story could happen right here in Lake Country, or it might have happened in Kelowna, or it might have happened in Vancouver, or maybe in Regina, or who knows. Anyway, it looks like giraffe skin.
Yeah, it does.
It feels nice though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like grass. I have a book that feels like this at school.
Do you? Yeah, that's a really nice feeling. Anyway, so let's hear this story. And this story begins with a little girl, and her name is Anne. Anne. And Anne, we can't really tell from this little doll, but she is really, really sad and crying. She has tears running down her face, and she's standing there all by herself when this other young girl named Sarah comes by, and she sees that Anne is crying, and she goes over to her, and she wonders why she is so sad. And Anne tells her that she has just heard about this horrible, horrible storm that happened in a place called the Philippines. Did any of you hear about that storm? It was a really bad storm. Lots of people died in the storm. Lots of people lost their homes. They have nothing to eat. Thousands and thousands and thousands of children don't have anything at all to eat. And she was feeling really sad and feeling completely hopeless. Do you know what hopeless means? What does hopeless mean? You just don't believe there's any hope, that there's anything that you can do. And Sarah felt really bad, and she thought for a minute, and she said, you know, I wonder what Jesus would do. And Jesus, of course, by this point, he has been gone a long, long time. He lived over 2,000 years ago. But he did really important things. And as Sarah's wondering with Anne about what Jesus would do, they hear a voice. They hear a voice that they can't tell where it's coming from. And it says, "Take up my song of hope and go into the world. Take up my song of hope in every moment." They wondered where that voice came from. And they thought about that. And Anne said, I have to have hope. Jesus always had hope. No matter how bad things were, he always had hope. And then she suddenly thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and get a basket at home, and I'm going to go door to door in my neighborhood, and I'm going to ask people if they will donate some money so that I can send it to buy rice for all of the children that don't have anything to eat where the storm happened. And Anne thought, you know, with hope, even I can make a little bit of difference. So that's the story of Anne. So then, there was a boy named Brent. Yeah. And Brent was storming back and forth, and he was really, really angry. He was so mad he could spit, and he was storming back and forth. And Sarah came and she found Brent, and she could tell that he was really, really, really mad. And she wondered why he was so angry. And so she went over and she said, Brent, why are you so mad? Why are you so angry? And he said, I was just watching TV, and I saw a show on TV about a country called Syria. And there's a war happening there, and it's so bad that all the people are having to leave their homes and just take whatever they can carry and flee to a different land. And he said, it makes me mad that war does that to people. And all these children are now living in tents because they can't go to their homes. It's not safe. And Brent said, I get so angry. I just get so angry because war is just bad and senseless, and there's nothing I can do. And Sarah said, I wonder what Jesus would do. And then all of a sudden there was this voice again, and it said, take up my song of peace and go into the world. Take up my song of peace in every moment. They didn't know where that voice was coming from, but they thought that it was important. And Brent says, there has to be peace. Jesus worked for peace. All the time that he was alive, he worked for peace. And then he thought, I know, I'm going to go to school tomorrow, and I'm going to get my whole class to write a letter to the Prime Minister to see if we can bring peace in Syria. And then he said, no, I have a better idea. I'm going to get the whole school, every single person in that school, teacher and student and janitor, to write a letter asking for peace. That's what I can do. Well, a little bit further along, and there was a girl named Chelsea. Chelsea is a bully. Chelsea picks on other girls in the school and in her neighborhood all the time. And the one little girl that she happens to be with right now is named Tina. And she says awful things to Tina all the time because Tina has a birthmark that is on her face. And it runs all the way from her ear, this big mark, all the way around, over her mouth and under her chin and down her neck. And just because of that, Chelsea is really mean to her, calling her horrible things. And Tina is crying. And Sarah sees this going on. And Tina is crying. And Sarah's standing here, and she's afraid. She's afraid to do anything about it because Chelsea is so mean so much of the time. And then she thinks, but I wonder what Jesus would do. And all of a sudden, there's a voice again. One more time, and it's singing, take up my song of love and go into the world. Take up my song of love in every moment. Sarah knew the voice was singing to her, and she stepped in between the two. And she said, Chelsea, you can't do this. This isn't fair. Everybody is beautiful. Everybody deserves to be loved. And Chelsea starts to say something to Sarah. And Sarah said, no, Chelsea, we need to love each other. I wonder what happened next. Do you think Chelsea stopped the bullying? And what? And she became the kindest girl in the school. Wouldn't that be great? Well, that's our story, and we're going to sing the song that I was just singing a bit of. Take up his song, and I would love you to sing it with me, and then you can go off to children's church.